Welcome to Beating with Machi Wapakwenyu. I'm your host, Lydia Sturby. Today, we're going to be working on this white, black, and rose gold fringe earring. So in your kit, you would have received a baggie with all the beads, a needle and some felt, 2 rose gold hooks, 2 rose gold wire guards, a piece of beeswax in the shape of a heart in case your string starts to fray, and a bobbin with some white thread on it, as well as the pattern. We're going to begin by threading our needle. Now I don't knot this thread, I just hold the end. And from there we're going to start our ladder stitch by putting on 4 white beads because we're doing a double drop brick stitch, but to start we have to begin the first row with a ladder stitch. So 4 go on, and you're going to kind of fold them over. So we've got a circle now. We've gone through all 4 and then went through them a second time, and we're going to get them to sit side by side like that. Okay, and so I'm just holding my tail out. I'm going to add 2 more white beads, and I'm going to come down towards the bottom here. Now I can't add on more beads yet because I'd be adding them on to the second set of beads, so I want to come back up through the 3rd set here so that I'm coming out the end of my row, and now I can add on 2 more beads and go up this time. So the needle is always going to follow the string. We'll come back down this way. We can now add on some more beads. Oh, 5 of 9. Okay, now that we've got our first row of 9 for our top part of our earring, we're going to follow the pattern all the way up, working back and forth. So you're still going to grab 2 beads, and you're going to slide underneath the string that's holding those 2 last needle or beads together, and then we're going to come back up through the beads. So you can see here it kind of makes this N shape. And from there we're just going to pull it nice and tight, and they're going to sit flat on top right between those 2 sets. And that's why we call this now is the brick stitch, because we're going to layer them like bricks just slightly off center of each other. And so each row we're going to go down a set. Continue till you get all the way up to just 2 at the top. Now that I've made my way all the way up and I've got my 2 beads here, I'm going to take my wire guard and I'm going to go up one side of it. I'm going to line it up with the beads on top here. I'm going to go down the other side with the wire guard and down those other 2 beads. Now you're going to want to make sure that the thread actually goes through the top of the wire guard here and not in front or behind. Now go back up the first 2 beads and out the wire guard and down again, and that's just going to make sure it stays a little bit stronger. Come back out there. Now to tie off your string so it doesn't all unravel, I like to come down and go through a set of 4 in a full circle. So I'm going to come down the middle 2, back up one of the side 2, and then back down these middle 2. So I've done a full circle, and that's just going to keep my string nice and tight. Now I can cut that off. And you're going to want to try to do the same with whatever tail you have left. So if you can weave it up into here, trying to make a circle, just depends on how much you've got left. And I did not leave myself very much here, so we're going to try anyway though. Okay, so now we're going to work on our fringe. You're going to want to take from fingertip to fingertip length, because if you can help not having to add string partway through a fringe, that makes your job a little bit easier. Just be careful with not getting tangled up while you're going. So just how we finished off that other piece, you're going to kind of do something similar in here. Start by going down those 2. Hold this little tail. I'm going to come up the 2 right beside it. And then come back down the first 2 I just did. And so that's my full circle there. From there, I'm going to go down these edge 2. And now I am ready to start adding on my fringe. So when you're adding on the fringe, you're going to follow your pattern and put all of them on. And then with this one, we did a 3 at the end. So you can see here, you've got 1, 2, 3 beads kind of in a triangle. So I'll show you how that works. So you're going to start by putting on all of your beads. Now the very last 3 of my pattern here are these rose golds. So we're going to push everything this way. So they're all lined up. I've got my 3 rose golds that are going to make my triangle on the end of my needle. And I'm not going to go back through those. I'm going to skip going back through those and go back through everything else. Oops. You might have to do it in a couple chunks, just depending on how long your fringe is and how long your needle is. And you're going to go right back up the first 2 of our ladder stitch. Now when you do that, I tend to hold the middle rose gold bead and just pull the string. And there's our first fringe. You can play with the tension. Sometimes it's easy just to roll it like a snake. Now I'm going to come down the second, pull my string, play with my tension, and I'm going to continue on to my next fringe, and I'm going to continue till I get to my very last one. So now I'm working my way back up my last fringe here. This is my final time before I tie off to play with my tension. So when I get all the way up, I'm going to check to make sure that I'm happy with how the earring dangles. And it's quite flowy, so I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to weave the tail in, just like we did before, in a couple different spots here so that I can cut it off and know that my fringes are going to stay where I want them. So I went up 2, down 2, up 2. I'm just going to snip this here now. And I can snip the other side because I had tucked it early on. And I'm going to just grab me some round nose pliers and open up the hook. I'm going to slide on my fringe earring. Now if you had a pattern that wasn't symmetrical, you might want to have them opposite of each other. Otherwise, otherwise you can just put them on any which way. And there you have it. We have our white, black, and rose gold fringe earrings. Thank you for joining me.